Target impression share sounds simple. You tell Google where you want your ads to appear and how often you want them to appear there. There are 3 different placement options, and each one lines up with a different metric name. You can target anyone on the page. This metric shows you the search impression share. Then there's the top page where ads can appear in the top 3 to 4 ad positions, and that's your search top impression share. Or you could target absolute top, which is the #1 ad position, and that is your search absolute top impression share. Now, each one is measured against a different pool of searches. A strong search impression share doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a strong top impression share, for example. They are separate metrics, so you need to look at the one that matches the placement that you're actually trying to target. There's also another set of metrics within Google's platform which shouldn't be confused with these, and they are the impression top percentage rate and the impression absolute top impressions percentage rate. Now, these sound very similar to the search top impression share and the search absolute impression share, but they're not the same thing. The impression share metric tells you how much of the available opportunity that you are winning, whereas the rate metrics tell you where your impressions that you've already won are actually appearing. So, for example, your impression top percentage rate is 50%. That just means that for half of the impressions that your ads showed, your ads are showing 50% in the top spots, and the other half were elsewhere on the page. It says nothing about how many top page opportunities exist out there that you missed. Use the 2 together, put them side by side, and then they tell you what's really going on. A high search impression share and low top percentage means you're showing up often, just not high enough. You'll probably need to choose a top of page target strategy for this. On the flip side, a low search impression share and a high top percentage rate indicates that when your ads do show, you're well placed in the top results section. Now, in this instance, the issue may not be the ad position. It may be that you're just not showing often enough in the first place. And that could point to budget, keyword coverage, match types, targeting, or ad rank. So before you switch the bidding strategy, work out what problem you're actually trying to solve. Do you need more overall visibility? Do you need a stronger top of page position, or do you specifically need to be in position #1? Once you know that, check the current figures for that exact metric that matches your goal. Then move up in a controlled step. If your current search top impression share is 35%, don't jump straight to 90%. That's basically telling Google to get it much more aggressive in the auction, and your cost per click will soar and eat up your budget very quickly. A more sensible test might be a 10 to 15% increase. So in this instance, a target of 45 to 50% would be pretty sensible. Then once you've done that, watch what happens with your cost per click, your cost per conversion, your conversion volume, and the lead quality. And keep an eye on the rate columns too, because they help you understand whether the extra visibility is actually improving your position or whether you're just paying more for the same type of traffic. Now let's take a look at this account for an example. The ads generated 12,714 impressions, but that only represents 18.03% of the total searches that they were eligible to appear for. Now that sounds quite poor. They captured 12.04% of the available top page opportunities and less than 10% of the available #1 positions. Now you would be thinking this account isn't doing particularly well. However, this is where looking at the rate columns really helps. When the ads did show, their placement was reasonably strong. 66.81% appeared at the top of the page. Now that's around 8,494 impressions. whilst 28.91% appeared in the absolute top position, which is around 3,676 impressions. So in simple terms, the ads are often appearing prominently when they enter the auction, but they are missing a large proportion of the available searches. Now, for this particular situation, because they want more overall impression share, I would probably opt for the target impression share with anywhere on the results page. The objective is to enter more of the estimated 70,500 available impression opportunities rather than paying extra to push the ads higher when they already show. Absolute top impression share needs even more care. Position number 1 can be useful for brand protection, for competitor defense, or a small group of proven high value keywords. But across a whole campaign, it can get expensive very, very quickly. And you're essentially asking Google to chase the most competitive position on the page. So you need to be sure that that position is actually worth paying for. And finally, always consider setting a maximum cost per click limit. Without a cap, Google has much more freedom to increase the bids in order to hit your target. Now, that might improve visibility, but it can also push the cost per click and the cost per inquiry higher than makes sense. So the takeaway is simple. Match the metric to the placement. Use the rate column to understand where your current impressions are landing. Move gradually and cap your bids. That's how you use a target impression share as a controlled strategy rather than a panic button when the performance starts dropping. I'm Sandra from All Aspect Media. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and a subscribe. It's always appreciated. Keep up to date with all our latest releases, and I will see you on the next one.